To be able to field strip your Glock, there's a few things you need to know. First of all, on the left hand side of the frame we have the magazine release. Above that we have the slide release. On the left and right hand side we have the slide removal buttons. They will all be used to field strip our pistol. The first thing we do is we always point the muzzle in a safe direction. We then remove the magazine by depressing the magazine release and pulling the magazine out. Holding the pistol in our right hand, we apply upward pressure on the slide release. With our left hand, we push the slide back, locking it in place. At this point, we then check the chamber to make sure it's empty. When you're satisfied that the chamber is empty, insert a safety snap cap into the chamber. Then we release the slide forward. To do that, hold the frame in the right hand, slide in the left hand, apply rearward pressure, let the slide go. Depress the trigger to dry fire the firearm. Turning the pistol upside down, grab the rear of the frame and the slide with your right hand. Now, clenching a fist with your right hand will allow you to pull the slide back. You want to pull the slide back approximately 1/8 of an inch. Now you use the pointer finger and the thumb of your left hand, putting finger and thumb on slide removal buttons. Pull those buttons back towards the pistol. While holding them back, release the barrel and slide. You can then pull the frame off of the barrel and slide. Holding the slide with your right hand, use your left hand to remove the action return spring. Using the pointer finger of your right hand, push the barrel out of the slide. You then remove the snap cap. Your pistol is field stripped, allowing you to clean it. And now that our pistol's field stripped, the first thing we do is we run a brush through the barrel. Put on the correct size ball brush, run the brush from the chamber through the barrel out through the muzzle. Repeat that a few times, brushing any garbage out of your barrel. After that, we'll run a solvent soaked patch through our barrel. We grab our patch, we put the jag through the notch we've cut in the middle of it, we screw that onto our rod, we grab our copper solvent, we fold one of the corners over our jag and we apply solvent to the corner covering the jag. We run that through our barrel from the chamber out through to the muzzle. We fold our patch over like that. We apply solvent underneath. We then pull the patch back through the firearm barrel like that. Now we'll leave that sit for about an hour. The solvent will work on the copper fouling that's in our barrel. After letting your barrel sit for about an hour, it's time to patch the solvent out. Remove any solvent soaked patches that you have. Put on a fresh clean patch. Once again, fold the corner over the jag. This time push it through the barrel dry. Pull it back through. You would then take that patch off and run another dry patch through and keep running dry patches through until the patch comes out dry. You'll notice a green colour to your patch the first few that you put through. That's the copper coming out of your barrel. You'll repeat the solvent dry patch until you get very little trace colour coming out on your patches. When you're happy that your barrel is free of copper and the barrel is dry, we then move on to the next step, which is applying oil. So we get rid of everything else off the desk that we don't need anymore. We put a dry patch on. This time instead of solvent like we did before, this time we use oil. Once again, fold the patch over the jag and apply plenty of oil to this patch. Run the oil soaked patch through your dry, clean barrel. Fold the patch over again like before. Apply oil underneath. Pull the patch back through the barrel from the muzzle through to the chamber. You may want to do that 1 or 2 times to guarantee that you've got plenty of oil in your barrel. When you've finished that, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now that we've got plenty of oil up our clean barrel, the next step is to get rid of everything else off the desk that we no longer need anymore, which includes our oil and our oil soaked patches. And the next thing we do is we brush with a plastic style toothbrush. We brush the underneath of the frame and the slide. On the slide, the parts to clean are the action rails, the part that actually lock onto your pistol. On your Glock, you must clean the firing pin safety, which is that little silver button. Make sure it's clean. And your firing pin, you make sure that's clean. You must make sure that you clean the bolt face. The very important part of the bolt face to clean is underneath the extractor. If you get a build-up of garbage there, your firearm will not function properly because the extractor will not extract the cartridge. When you've cleaned that part, depress the firing pin safety with your finger and push your firing pin forward. That should allow you to see the firing pin protrude through the bolt face. When you can see that, it means the firing pin hole is clear, which is very important. That's your slide brushed. On your frame, the important parts to clean are here, which is the part of the trigger that operates your firing pin. Your ejector, make sure it's clear. The feed ramp area. Your slide release, make sure it's clear. And this part of your frame, which is where your slide and barrel assembly lock onto the frame. We just make sure they're clean and dry. We do not apply oil or lubricants to these parts. They do not rust. They are low tolerance fit, so they do not need lubricating either. Now that your barrel is cleaned and oiled and your frame and slide assembly are clean, the next step is to dry the oil out of the barrel. To do that, we go back to the jag and brushes, the jag and patches like we had before. We grab a dry patch, put a dry patch on, we run that through our barrel. We keep running dry patches through our barrel until all the patches come out dry. We put it aside. We then put our barrel back into our slide. We get our action return spring. You'll see the action return spring on one end has a knob, on the other end is flat. The knob locks into a loop on the muzzle end of the slide. The flat end locks in to the barrel. We slide our slide onto our frame. We click it in place. We grab our action snap cap, lock the slide open, drop the snap cap into the chamber, drop the slide forward, decock, fit magazine. Pistol is now cleaned and ready for use. The reason we clean the oil out of our barrel before we use it again, pressure takes the path of least resistance. On the video you may not see, but this Glock barrel has 2 bulges in it. A customer left oil in the barrel before discharging it. The barrel then bulged because the oil had nowhere to go. That is a very light case. It is dangerous. That barrel is not to be used ever again. This is a slightly worse case. This barrel split. As you can see, there is a major cleft all the way through the barrel, top and bottom. This is not a worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the gun actually blowing up and possibly removing a hand. So by all means leave oil in the barrel for rust protection, but make sure you pat your barrel dry before you go and discharge your firearm. Thank you.